Hey, welcome back to Postal Barbecue. I'm Jabin Postal, and today at the grill, we're making an amazing reverse seared ribeye laid on top of a delicious board sauce that you're gonna love. Now, other than that, let's get into the cook. As I said, welcome back to Postal Barbecue. I appreciate you being here. Today at the grill, we're cooking up these delicious 2-inch thick ribeye steaks that are gonna absolutely be delicious. I'm gonna cook them low and slow, then finish them off with a reverse sear, and then I'm gonna lay them on a nice board sauce, which is full of herbs and spices and garlic. It's gonna be absolutely wonderful. And so when you are making a reverse seared ribeye like this, I always recommend going about 2 inches thick because it allows you to have a little bit more buffer so you don't overshoot your temperatures, but also for the final look, because ribeye steaks are often used during special events like Father's Day, Christmas, birthdays, all those special occasions. And so you want those ribeyes to be the best ribeyes that you can find. And that's what I have here, some 2-inch thick ribeyes with some decent marbling in them. And these are going to be absolutely wonderful. And so to get started with this recipe, the first thing that I'm going to do is apply a little bit of olive oil to the outside surface of these steaks. You don't need a whole lot. Just rub that around, flip them over. Do the same to the underside. There we go. For our seasoning today, I'm going to be using my Mad Cow beef rub. I absolutely love this seasoning on steaks. It goes absolutely wonderful. It's got the right balance of salts and peppers and some spices to give a little bit of extra pizzazz to these steaks. And so I'm going to apply a liberal coating onto this because these steaks, like I said, are 2 inches thick and they can handle that extra seasoning. There we go. Flip these over and we'll do the same to the underside. All right, there we go. And so with these ribeyes all seasoned up, I'm gonna go ahead and get our slow and sear kettle set up for cooking around 225 to 250 degrees. So to set up our grill today for cooking, I placed in about 20 briquettes into the slow and sear, and I got those coals fully lit. Next, I filled up the remainder of the slow and sear basket until it was about 3/4 of the way full. And then after that, I closed the lid and let our temperatures come up to around 250 degrees. Okay, so my kettle grill is sitting around 225 degrees. This is the perfect temperature to put these on. But before I do that, I'm gonna place my meter digital thermometer into the center of this guy here. And this is so we can monitor the internal temperature of the steaks as they cook, as well as the ambient temperature of the kettle. And so with everything all prepared and ready to go, let me get them into the kettle grill. And then I'm going to also add on a couple pieces of hickory just to add a little bit of smoky flavor. Close that back up. And so with everything on the grill, I'm going to close up this lid and I'm going to begin cooking this until it reaches an internal temperature of 115 degrees before we do the sear, but I'm also going to come back at 90 degrees to give it a flip just to promote some even cooking. It's been about 30 minutes now since I first put our ribeyes into the grill and our internal temperature has just reached 90 degrees. And so I'm gonna open up the grill and give these ribeyes a flip. Let's just look at that nice wood smoke color that's already on these ribeyes. And so let's go ahead and flip them over. There we go. Gonna quickly close back up this lid, and I'm gonna continue to cook these ribeyes until they reach an internal temperature of around 115 degrees before we begin our final sear. And so while this is cooking away, let's go ahead and begin to make our board sauce. So this board sauce that I'm gonna be making today is very simple to do. I did start out by pre-chopping some of my ingredients. So I have 3 cloves of garlic. I'm gonna place this onto my cutting board. I also have 1 shallot that I'm going to add to this. And then to this, I'm going to grab some flat leaf parsley. I'm going to rip off about a handful. Place that on there, as well as I'm going to grab some rosemary and just take some of that off. Also, I'll throw in a sprig of thyme to that. And you know, these are sort of the ratios that I enjoy. There's also a number of other different things you could put in this yourself just to change it up a little bit, but this is what I like. And so I'm going to take all this and I'm going to just finely chop it all together. All right, so with our ingredients mostly chopped down, I'm gonna add in a couple more ingredients. I'm gonna add in a splash of red wine vinegar. Then I'm gonna add in some olive oil. Then I'm actually going to take a little bit more of this Mad Cow seasoning and add in a little bit of this. This is going to add a little bit of color as well as add a little bit of extra spice to this. And then I'm going to continue to chop it until it's nice and smooth. So in only a few minutes, this board sauce is all done, and you can really smell those herbs and the garlic coming through very nicely. This is gonna taste so good when it starts to mix with those juices from the ribeye. And so speaking of our ribeye, it just hit 115 degrees. So let's open the grill and take a look. Guys, these are looking very nice, but we know that they're not done because they're only at 115 degrees internal temperature. If we were to take them off right now, they wouldn't be seared, as well as they would be still too raw for my liking. So we're shooting for a medium rare today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our grill grate and I'm going to mix together all of our coals to get them roaring hot for sear. And so once our coals are up to a searing temperature, I'm gonna be using the cold grate technique today to sear off our steaks, which basically means I'm gonna be spinning the grate each time and searing off these steaks 1 minute on each side twice. After only a total of 4 minutes searing, these ribeyes are all done. I'm gonna go ahead and just double check our internal temperatures here. And you can see that these ribeyes have an internal temperature of 127 degrees, which is the perfect internal temperature for me because as these steaks rest, they are gonna rest up a couple degrees and end off with a perfect medium rare. So I'm gonna pull these off the grill, place it onto our board sauce, and then we'll get ready for the taste test. In only about an hour, these ribeyes and that board sauce is all done. It smells so good back here. The sear on these steaks is absolutely perfect, and I can't wait to go for the taste test. But before I do that, just notice how the juices from the steaks is mingling with that board sauce. I also put a couple pounds of butter underneath these steaks as well, and so there's gonna be a lot of flavor under these steaks. And so let's grab one of these guys and we'll slice it open in half. And just look at this. You can see that it's wall-to-wall, medium rare. This is absolutely perfect. And so I'm gonna slice off another strip here for our taste test. All right, guys, I can't wait any longer. I need to go for the taste test and see how it is. Here we go. Oh my goodness, that's so good. So right off the bat, you get that rich beefiness from that ribeye, and then on the backside, you get that fresh, light, herbaceous sort of flavors from that board sauce. It's absolutely wonderful. There's also a little bit of a spice coming through from that barbecue rub. This is a perfect combination. So guys, if you've never tried a ribeye with board sauce or just any steak in general with this board sauce, make sure to give it a try because the flavor is so good and you want to make sure to give it a try for sure. I'm gonna keep going in because these flavors are just calling my name. Oh my goodness. Oh. So that's how you make that amazing ribeye steak with the delicious board sauce to go with it. You're gonna love it for sure. Until next time, keep that fire lit and get cooking. Hey, welcome back to Postal Barbecue. I'm Jabin Postal, and today at the grill we're making an amazing smoked pork tenderloin topped with a delicious mango salsa that is absolutely wonderful. Now, other than that, let's get into the cook. As I said, welcome back to Postal Barbecue. I appreciate you being here. Today at the grill, we're gonna be making a delicious smoked pork tenderloin topped with a delicious mango salsa that's gonna be absolutely phenomenal for your next feast. There's not much to do to prepare this cook. We have our pork tenderloin and all of our ingredients to make our salsa, including some mangoes, peppers, onions, cilantro, and some jalapeno and lime. And all those flavors are gonna go together very nicely and just complement this pork tenderloin so well. And so to prepare our pork tenderloin, the first thing that we need to do is trim it up. Pork tenderloin often comes a little bit messy with some silver skin on there. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a sharp knife and I'm gonna begin by slicing off some of the silver skin that's on here. Let's get a knife in there and just go underneath that. And then I'm just going to clean up some of these straggler pieces, kind of make it a little bit more uniform. There we go. And you'll notice that there'll be a little bit of fat and some places that you're not going to be able to get off, and that's totally fine. Just do your best. And so to get started, I'm going to grab some olive oil and I'm going to place a little bit of this on here just to act as a little bit of a binder. On this first one, I'm going to be using my Postal Barbecue Original Rub, and I'm going to place a nice generous coating onto the outside of this. Make sure we flip it over, we get all the sides. All right, that looks great. And so on the next one, like I said, I'm going to be using this Sweet Heat from Daddy Dutch Barbecue. I'm going to place a nice coating of this on as well. And you know, I'm excited about this one because it does have a nice kick to it, as well as followed by that bit of sweetness just to round out those flavors. And so this is going to go really nicely on this pork tenderloin today. With our pork tenderloin all rubbed, let's move it off to the side and we'll start working on our mango salsa. And so to get started with this mango salsa, I did start by dicing up 2 fresh mangoes into cubes, and you can make these mango pieces as big or small as you wish. And so once you have them diced, place them into a medium-sized bowl, and this is where we're gonna mix everything together. And so next I'm gonna grab a half of a red onion, and I'm gonna dice these into small pieces again. There you go, place that in as well. Next to that, I'm gonna grab a half of a red bell pepper. And again, I'm gonna dice this down quite small. There we go, I'll toss this into our bowl. Next, we want to add a little bit of spice, and so I did go ahead and dice up very finely 1 jalapeno. I'm going to toss that into that bowl. There we go. Next, I'm going to chop up about a handful of fresh cilantro. There we go. We'll toss that in there as well. Oh, this smells so good already. And so the last thing I'm gonna add in is my lime. I'm gonna add in 1 full lime to this. If you wanna use a lemon, go for that. I just prefer the flavor of some limes. And then lastly, I'm just gonna take a pinch of salt and add that in as well. And then we'll go ahead and give this a nice mix. I'm gonna go ahead and place this into the fridge for about 30 minutes to allow those flavors just to blend together very nicely. Our pork tenderloin is all seasoned up and ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get our kettle set up for cooking around 275 degrees. So to set up our grill today, I placed in about 12 briquettes into the corner of the Sloan sear, and then I grabbed my sous vide gun just to blast those coals until they're fully lit. Once my coals were fully lit, I then filled up the remainder of the Sloan sear. I then closed the lid and let our temperatures come up to around 275 degrees. So with our grill sitting around 275 degrees, it's now time to get our pork tenderloin onto the grill. And you'll notice that before it goes on, I did insert my Meter Plus digital thermometer so that I can monitor the internal temperature of these tenderloins as well as the ambient temperature inside the grill. And so with everything all ready to go, let's go ahead and get these pork tenderloins onto the grill opposite the coals. Next, I'm going to take some hardwood and I'm going to place that directly over the coals to add a little bit of smoky flavor. And today I'm using some cherry wood because cherry goes very nicely with pork. And so with everything on the grill, I'm going to close up this lid and we're going to begin smoking this pork tenderloin until it reaches an internal temperature of around 140 degrees. It's been about 40 minutes now and the internal temperature of our pork tenderloins has reached 130 degrees. We still have a little bit of time to go to get it up to that 140 degree mark. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna open up the grill and we're gonna sauce the outside of these tenderloins just to add a little bit of extra flavor. Now just a look at that nice color that's on both of these tenderloins. This is the one from Daddy Dutch Barbecue as well as the original rub, and they both look absolutely phenomenal. So I'm gonna grab my barbecue sauce and I'm gonna just drizzle that on top. We'll brush this in. There we go. And so I'm going to quickly close up this lid again and let this continue to cook for about 7 to 10 minutes until it reaches that 140 degree mark. I went ahead and let our pork tenderloin continue to cook for about another 10 minutes and our internal temperature now is sitting at 140 degrees. So I'm going to open up the grill and just confirm our temperatures. Oh, it's got an amazing color. I love that. Okay, I'm going to put this into here. And to be expected, we are reading 140 degrees. So I'm going to pull these off the grill, let them rest for a little bit, and then we'll get ready for the taste test. So I went ahead and let our pork tenderloin rest for about 10 minutes and they smell absolutely wonderful. You can really pick up that sweetness from that barbecue sauce as well as some of that spice that's in the Daddy Dutch barbecue rub. It smells phenomenal. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my tenderloin and I'm gonna first of all just go for a taste test of each one individually. Then we'll add on that mango salsa. And this one here is the one that we did with the original rub. So just look at how tender and juicy this is. This is incredible. I'm gonna go for the taste test and see how we did. That is so good. It's tender, juicy. You can get a little bit of that spice from that barbecue rub. It's so good. But let's cut into this one here. I'm gonna pull this guy out right here and it is just as juicy. I can't wait to taste this one. Ooh. You know, you can really taste that spice in that Daddy Dutch barbecue rub. It's got that bit of sweetness and then that spice hits you really nicely. It's gonna go very well with this mango salsa. All right, let's get a little bit of this onto the board. And again, let's just go for the taste test with our mango salsa. Well, here we go. It's the moment of the truth. Now that is a killer combination. You know, one thing I really enjoy about pork tenderloin, first of all, is that it's tender and juicy every single time, as long as you don't overcook it. You add in a delicious barbecue rub, then pair it with an amazing mango salsa like what we did, and the flavor just wows you every single time. This is one recipe that you need to make sure to try out this summer. So that's how you make that juicy and delicious pork tenderloin that's topped with that mango salsa. It's absolutely delicious. You need to give it a try. Until next time, keep that fire lit and get cooking.